Ron Hextall has called all 31 teams this summer on P.O. Joseph. P.O. Joseph, of course, acquired by the Pittsburgh Penguins under the Jim Rutherford regime in the Phil Kessel trade with the Arizona Coyotes, coincidentally, has only played probably 20 games at the Pittsburgh Penguins level, was looking to make that jump to the Pittsburgh Penguins this season. Of course, the defense is something we're going to talk about all episode long, log jammed at the NHL level with 9 NHL-ready defensemen, especially with, I believe, 5 on that left side right there, and Joseph not being waiver eligible also makes things a little bit more complicated. So Horwat, with Joseph having to clear waivers to be sent down, and of course the news coming out now that Hextall has called everybody under the sun to try to get a trade for P.O. Joseph, what do you think happens with him here in the next week?
It's hard to say. I think we're just going to see him get shipped off. And it hurts to say, but I think, like I'd been saying all camp, he's in this battle with Ty Smith. And in the few times, I haven't seen him much, but in the few moments that I've seen Ty Smith on the ice, he's looked better. He has been given the advantages of being the guy that they put into the lineup during these preseason games. They scratched P.O. Joseph for a preseason game. You get scratched in a preseason game, that should say something. Ty Smith has been given these opportunities. He's a year younger, so he doesn't have a year on him, but he's got over 100 games of NHL experience, which is far more than P.O. Joseph can say right now. And in certain situations, we do have to understand that building a team is A, a business, and B, you're trying to put the best product on the ice. Mike Sullivan said it himself. They're trying to the best of their ability, put the best team they can on the ice. And if one player is just better than the other, chemistry or not with a line mate, if the player's better, the player's better. And Mike Sullivan also said they're trying to build that chemistry between Smith and Ruda, who's going to be his line mate all year, it seems. So the decision seems to be made, and because you want P.O. Joseph to be playing, you don't want to take the shot at sending him through the waivers, you may as well get a return. It sucks to say that we've been talking about P.O. Joseph coming up in this organization for how many years now, it seems. But it might almost at this point be better just to ship him off and get some sort of return.
I mean, yes, it would be better to get a return than just to try to send him through waivers. And at this point, it seems like if he got sent through waivers, he would be taken by one of the 32 teams. But I think this is an issue with your general manager right now, because Ron Hextall overplayed his hand this summer on the blue line. Because we saw 2 moves in one day. Not only did he spend the money on the opening day of free agency to bring in Jan Ruda, but he made 2 trades in one day that not only sent out defensemen with high cap hits and Mike Matheson and John Marino, but he brought back just as many defensemen. And he also mentioned, Danny Shirey of DK Pittsburgh Sports asked him, is it fair to assume that you're not taking 9 defensemen into the season? And he laughed at it, played it off, said, that's fair to assume. Well, training camp came around. Those 9 defensemen were still on the roster. Now we have news that he's been trying to ship off P.O. Joseph. We know that he was trying to trade Marcus Pettersson at some point this offseason. He overplayed his hand. Teams in the league are going to take notice when you do stuff like that. These general managers pay attention to everything that happens. So they know Ron Hextall is in a bind. They know, don't make a deal with him, because if you make a deal with him, you're giving something up. Whereas if you don't, you're going to have an opportunity at one of these 9 NHL defensemen, because he's going to have to send somebody through waivers. The only problem was Hextall was banking on somebody coming into camp and outperforming Ty Smith, and nobody has done that. Not that Ty Smith has been absolutely incredible, but Ty Smith has been the guy at the 3rd pairing left defense. And that's the problem, because he was the only waiver eligible guy. So now you look and you're saying, okay, well, we pick somebody to be 7th, and then there's 8th and 9th. Are we going to carry 8 defensemen? Probably have to. And who's the 9th guy? And who do we send down? And who do we risk losing? Which right now, I feel like that's between P.O. Joseph and Mark Friedman. And the thing is, with P.O. Joseph, he's younger. He has a higher upside. We basically know what Friedman is going to be. And you don't want to lose a guy like P.O. Joseph, who is still a valuable trade chip, for nothing. So you're going to have to carry him on the NHL roster, or you're going to have to risk losing him, which you will probably lose him on the NHL waiver wire here in the next week. So I think it's a case of Ron Hextall overplayed his hand, and the general managers across the league looked at it and said, why are we going to trade with you when you're going to have one of these 9 guys that we would gladly take on the waivers within a week before the season?